Well, welcome back, guys, to the Chase Revelo podcast. And in this one, we have a fucking special guest today, Blake motherfucking Baswell. Welcome to the pod, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Fuck yeah, bro.
What a day, bro. What a day.
Hell yeah, bro.
Pulled up to Miami. Technically, this is like, I'd consider my first time here. I can get used to it, bro. This is really nice.
Hell yeah. What's it been like so far in Boca? How's your experience been so far, dude?
Just like looking at everything, like the greenery and just like how nice everything is just, it's really cool, bro. It's really cool. I can see how you can be really productive here. A lot of tennis courts and, you know, and whatnot. We still have to conquer Miami later, though.
100%, bro. We totally do, man. Yeah, Boca's more tucked away. It's more chill, but yeah, man, 100%.
This is very nice.
Yeah, dude, stoked to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me, bro.
100%, bro, 100%. So for anybody out there who's not familiar with you currently, bro, like let them know like who you are, what you do, and yeah, just give them a little bit of info on your background, dude.
Yeah, my name is Blake. I'm a 23-year-old entrepreneur, and I have multiple companies, mainly in like software, education, and starting to get into private equity as well. So I'm primarily focused on companies that want to enable AI in their businesses, and yeah, really just want to scale with probably the most disruptive technology that we're ever going to come across within our lifetimes. Yeah.
100%, bro. Yeah, fucking AI came out of nowhere, bro.
Yeah,
came
just
out
like
of nowhere.
woke up.
Bro. When would you say that was, like when AI just fucking started just kicking shit?
Consumers got access to GPT like around like November 30th. It broke the internet, 2022.
22, okay.
It's been around though. It's been around. I mean, developers have had access to AI well before that. I learned about it in like 2021, and I saw that, you know, developers are building like really cool applications with it. And the moment I realized that, man, like it can code, I'm like, oh, we're cooked. You know, like human intelligence is actually gonna be insignificant in a very short period of time. So, you know, that's kind of when I realized like, oh man, I should probably like, you know, focus a little bit more into this technology, and it's so far so good.
100%, bro. Yeah, that's dope. That's so sick, man. Yeah. And like when you were getting into the AI space, like what was that moment where you were like, man, maybe I'm an entrepreneur, but maybe I really want to lean in heavily on AI, and like this is really like it. Like when did you find that moment out? Like what was that exact timing?
Yeah, I've always been like an entrepreneur, and all entrepreneur really is just capitalizing on opportunities, right? I've realized that there are a lot of inefficiencies with a lot of businesses, and I've realized that technology actually can solve a lot of those problems, specifically AI technology as well too. You know, I've realized that, you know, some of the skills that I even have, like for example, sales, marketing, operations, etc., can all be augmented with this technology. And I've realized that like, oh man, like these are some really cool applications. You know, I built a few software tools and building software companies, and like I shouldn't be able to do that with someone that doesn't have any technical expertise.
Right, the no-code shit these days is insane.
Yeah.
You can have no knowledge on coding and be able to make shit like that.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Anybody is able to create anything, you know? Like you can go onto like Replit or Lovable or Cursor and create like a fully functional software company using their chatbot agent.
Not being able to know how to code.
Yeah, it's like, I think we live in a world where we're going to be rewarded via creativity versus our technical skills.
Right.
So the more creative that you are, or the more problems that you're able to solve, like the cooler, you know, more useful products you can build. So it's really like, yeah, I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, bro. I was like, if anybody is able to create anything, then what do we have left? And that's like really exciting to me.
It's a big shift, man, because with AI, all of the tactical, like how like actually doing this stuff is going to be basically automated. So it's going to be the kind of wave of ideas of, like you said, creativity, and that the possibilities with that are insane, bro. I feel like we could fucking hit a next fucking like renaissance in a sort of like just insane. Like if you can think about it, like you said, bro, it can fucking happen, man.
Absolutely.
And that barrier that's been removed is a game changer, bro.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. It's like the Renaissance. It's like during the Renaissance era, we started to, you know, have like this explosion of new inventions due to technology just becoming a lot better.
Right.
So now it's even more accessible than ever before. right? So, I'm curious, like, with what you're doing with your coaching business and like tennis, like, how do you think this technology can be utilized in your vertical?
Totally. So in my business, specifically my business model, I think there's a few components. I think on content side, I think for like content creators, coaches who are trying to get more into content, it's like being able to streamline your content creation process through ideation, through eventually higher level with editing. So like when you have your idea for content as the expert, as the coach, creator, whatever, you can then have that, put that down, and then have kind of the rest of it kind of systematized, or at least as much as you can systematize. So I think streamlining that process from idea to like fully fledged out, piece of content that will benefit my business, my online business, I think that's a huge piece. And I think that's a barrier for a lot of coaches trying to get into like online, like they're a good tennis coach, good paddle coach, good pickleball coach, whatever. A barrier for them is like they feel like I'm too scared to take the leap right now into making content and just getting into that. And it's not even I'm scared, it's I don't even know what the fuck to do. I don't know how to make the content, I don't know what idea to do. So by having some guidance and then like strategically using AI, you can compress that time like fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. So I think when coaches can start leveraging some of those AI tools, with the right guidance, it like, I think the main thing there is, or one main thing for like the more beginners getting into it, is just that ideation to full-fledged creation, just completely dialed in, bro. Does that make sense?
It's like the speed to execution has just been minimized significantly, right?
Yes, like a motherfucker. Exactly.
Right. It's crazy. We haven't really even scratched the surface, because like we're even seeing like some pretty sophisticated AI models on like court vision. Like it's like able to like track balls, like it can count scores, it can analyze certain trends with like your forehand and backhand. And
totally.
I mean, like professional athletes have been using this technology for a minute. It's been a while. I know like baseball players use it for their swings.
Oh yeah, it's huge in baseball.
And it's
huge.
And I'm sure even tennis, like you guys are using it for an analysis.
Yep.
Right. You train like a data set on like all of your court footage, and then you can just get better by just analyzing it a lot smarter.
100%. Like making it track the right variables, and 100%, bro. Yeah. Like what are some other like cool use cases you've seen for like leveraging AI to kind of streamline different types of like the sides of operations for businesses, bro?
For me, like I like to automate processes when the risks are low and the reward is high. So for me, like I don't really like picking up calls. So like I created like AI voice agents that's able to do that. So like with these AI voice agents, it's able
for inbound leads.
Yeah, for any lead that's able to like call like a number, for example, you can create like an AI voice agent that's able to pick the phone up like a human, collect information, answer questions, and store that information in like a CRM, which alleviates the responsibility for me or a human that I have to manage to do that. And it's really not in a way that's like trying to displace or replace people. It's really just like, how can I qualify the leads a lot more efficiently than I already currently do. So it's actually like really cool. I'm like testing this out with like my tattoo shops. We get a bunch of like inbound leads, and asking a salesperson, hey, can you work 24/7 around the clock, answer every single phone call, not have your tonality, energy, or like the quality of the conversations fluctuate? It's like that's a pretty big ask, and humans are always going to ask for like pay raises. They're always going to ask for they're going to ask for
human
a lot.
Things.
And humans require humans have very different needs than AI. All an AI pretty much needs is just like prompt, and then also just it needs energy to compute. Humans need like sort of like emotional support.
Exactly. They don't have emotional baggage.
Yeah, so that's like one of the use cases that I've been actually seeing a lot of success in right now. So I think that it's a big opportunity to if I was getting started in like business, like sell these AI solutions to businesses, because like they're not going to figure it out on them themselves.
Totally.
Most business owners, they don't even know about AI voice agents, to be honest.
Totally. Yeah. If you can learn about the tools, how to leverage them, you can help other businesses apply those.
Yeah.
And generate consistent profit from that.
Totally.
Dope.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, like another use case that I've really been like thinking about is like info products.
Yeah.
So all an info product business is like you're selling some sort of like intellectual / gated information or knowledge that you have that somebody else is paying for. Right. So the contingency with info product is typically like knowledge overwhelm. Like, somebody watching a 6-hour course, obviously like the problem is like information consumption and retention and then execution.
Totally.
Right. So the information consumption is really just like you're giving them all of this program information, which is information about like whatever you specialize in.
Right.
For the user that's actually going through that program, it's difficult to like amalgamate and then take all that information. It takes time. Right. Then you also have retention. So it's like most people have like very shortened attention spans to actually learn something, right? And then what's really difficult about, for example, like coaching programs is execution. It's like they have to like understand and, understand that knowledge and then take that knowledge and then execute it within their lives. So I think AI coming into any sort of like coaching business or info product, it can actually be used to create like like a chase bot, for example. Like you train the same information inside of the course that you're going to be providing within your program. You were to create a chat bot, and your users or your clients can leverage that, get the information, and then also it's going to be very specific and trained on them, which is actually going to be really cool. So it's like you're a coaching business. You could transition that coaching business and offer that cheaper as a solution by creating a custom chatbot, right? That's basically you. So,
literally.
Yeah, it's like pretty cool.
And make that available to people, totally.
It's like you can, instead of selling services, you're selling software. And that's like what I'm really bullish on.
100%. So what would you say is the main reason why software is a great vehicle?
I think it boils down to the quote that Naval said. He's like, technology democratizes consumption and consolidates production. And essentially what that means is it's liberating for people who want to consume like content, for example, or like knowledge or resources, but it's also really, efficient for the people who are selling that, because with software, you're able to do that unlimited times at almost no cost. Right. So like if you sell an info product, for example, and you charge $6,000 for a coaching program, you could essentially sell unlimited seats, right? Or, unless you wanted to, have a certain capacity of how many students you're accepting. Right. But like with software.
That's because your delivery is capped, right?
Exactly.
If you're not leveraging some of that.
Yeah, exactly. And like with software, it's like if you want more users, you just have to spend more, of your resources on marketing so that you can get more users at like no additional cost. And also with software, what I really like about this business model specifically was like, you have like it's stickier. It's like much stickier. There's an increased LTV, right? So they're paying on like a month-to-month basis or however long they want to use the software. So it's you look at, for example, like agencies versus software companies. There's a reason why software companies exit at a much higher multiple versus like agencies. Agencies, there's a lot of operational complexity. You have like people that are delivering some sort of like service to their clients versus software. Like the core service is like the software in and of itself. It's the product, right? So you can sell that essentially unlimited times versus like it's hard to sell an agency to somebody because like they.
You can't sell that. I mean, the multiples are not as good, right?
Anywhere from like a 1 to 3x an agency, but like with software, with software I've seen it anywhere from like like an 8 to even some instances like a 20x multiple, because you do have that LTV. Right?
So basically that's one of the reasons then, right? It's that exit-wise, it's actually exitable eventually, right? If that's your goal versus something else that is maybe more reliant on just personal brand potentially.
Yeah, no, totally. As like a previous agency owner myself, I could even say like it's more rewarding and more fulfilling to transition from a client to a user, because with client you're gonna have to be forced to sell higher ticket at like a lower volume in order to hit like a certain number, versus like software you can serve a much larger TAM or total addressable market, but you can even, since it's software and you don't really have to do anything or you don't really have to do much compared to like services, you can charge a much cheaper price point. So like there's like way more leverage selling software, because that's like that is the core deliverable that,
100%.
that you're selling.
100%. And also it's like you can leverage those tools in those other programs you have or whatever to be able to scale it further than you would have without them, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah, it's so fucking powerful, bro.
I think if you're a coach or if you have like an agency, like you should always have some sort of software that you're selling to your customer base, right? Like for example, it's like I have a coaching program that teaches people like AI, and I have a bunch of tools that I use, a couple of tools that I've built that I recommend them to use to solve problems in their business, right? So it's like I could technically charge high ticket for coaching services or high ticket for consulting or doing like workshops or whatnot, but I do not have the capacity as a single human to help everybody in the world with AI. That's literally impossible. So the only way that I can do that is through software.
So also impact-wise, you can deliver to more people, impact more people, change more people's fucking lives.
Yeah,
which is what it's about.
100%. Yeah. No, it's very exciting. It's very, very exciting to see like this transition of like technology getting better, and we're seeing not just like AI software, we're seeing software that's easier to build businesses, right? Like we have like some of the best like community building platforms like WAP, for example.
Right.
It's like I wish I had that starting out. You know what I mean? Like I had to like put together like all these different applications to get like the same, basically the same output as like WAP, right? And it's like free. So, I mean, building a business is easier than ever before due to the accessibility to the powerful technology that we have today. And it's just 100%. Getting easier and easier.
100%, man. Yeah, it's interesting, man. You mentioned WAP. It's like I remember not too long ago, it was like school came into the game.
Yeah.
Taken over, right? And I feel like now we're in that shift, bro. We're in that shift. There's a new player. There's a new big fucking player in the game, right? So how do you see that dynamic in the current landscape, bro? School, WAP, obviously other platforms as well. How do you see that right now?
Well, as like an existing school user myself that transitioned to WAP, I've realized that like both are two completely different platforms. Like school is like a platform fundamentally to just like host your course, and it's really good for like coaches, but it's just like the user interface isn't as good, versus WAP is like they're really trying to become the everything platform, and they're their own payment processor. So I think like WAP is just easier to build online communities. So basically, if I were to compare school, and school is basically like a glorified Facebook group, and WAP feels like a little bit more of a robust Discord group with like more functionality.
Totally. And I think you see that too in the culture, right? You see that in, I think, company culture and the nature of it, right? What is it? Sam Ovens, Hormozy, a little bit older generation, right? I mean, they're still young, kind of, but older for sure, versus more of like the newer age, younger gamer culture, internet culture, that type of thing, right?
Yeah, building a business online is now gamified. Like they're making it fun to make money. And I think like making money has like a bad connotation in, I guess, like the info product or coaching space. You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, like you probably sell a course online,
right?
Therefore I can't trust you,
right?
Versus like what WAP is trying to do, and what I really like what they're doing is they're really gamifying the experience of building an online business, right? They have like content rewards, for example, right? Which basically incentivizes people to clip content, post, and get paid, right? And like they have a leaderboard section where like you can actually see communities that are actually making money, and like it's pretty fun trying to just make more money than like another competitor community. But like in a sense, it's like you're not technically competing against them, but it's like you guys have your own like individual product,
right? But it's not I win so you lose. It's like, no, like we're all fucking winning, bro.
Exactly.
We're all going up.
I think everybody is winning at the end of the day. I mean, like we're still so early to even like WAP. I still think they really haven't even started after now being like one of the co-founders of it, which is like a big play in the info space. And I think it was a really good decision for him and the team to really go full throttle on this. And everything kind of just like, I can see it all kind of coming together, and them actually executing on making building an online business like a video game.
Literally.
If I can kind of put together in words,
The updates have been good, bro. I mean, I remember the app, bro, first using it, there were some kinks in there, but the app's getting better, bro. Like this last update, bro, it's been fucking killer, bro.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. Every single time, I swear, like I open my phone, it's like there's a new update. I'm like, oh.
Yes, bro. I'm like, fuck, twice a day, what the hell?
I haven't seen school do that. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's really cool to see kind of like our shift in building an online business. Like it's just more fun, to be honest. Like it just has evolved significantly over a very short amount of time.
Totally. 100%, bro. Yeah, I wanted to kind of take a step back a little bit here and shift gears a little bit, and I want to just break down for the audience like how we even came into Connect, right? So tell the audience how we came to Connect and how that happened, bro.
Well, it's through an online community, right?
Yeah.
So we connected through the Gents Croquet Club. Remember, as an NFT project?
Hell yeah. Iman's project.
Yeah, Iman Ghazi's project. And he was basically trying to put together a community of like-minded entrepreneurs that have online businesses that want to like network and connect and grow.
Totally.
And as a result, we're in Florida right now. We're at the,
Hell yeah.
No, it's pretty cool. So yeah, did I interview or was it someone else?
Yeah, I think
it was Jacoby, right?
Yeah, Jacoby.
Jacoby.
I think, was it you then Jacoby or Jacoby then you? I think it was
Jacoby then me.
and then you.
Yeah.
No, that was dope.
That was pretty cool. You still have the NFT, right?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Totally.
I mean, that project was sort of like a testament of let's build like something exclusive around like a high value community of like-minded entrepreneurs. And yeah, I mean, NFTs is like, the technology is still very powerful, as you can see. It's basically just, access to something valuable, which is like, you can own a piece of the internet, basically. It's what an NFT is. And I think WAP is actually going to execute on that vision and bring NFTs back.
Really? In what way?
In a way where you can buy a course as an NFT, take the course, and then resell it. Think about it. Who's working? We have a couple of hitters, right? We have Brett Malinowski.
Yeah,
right?
Brett, big hitter.
Big hitter in the NFT space.
Yes.
The founders are really big into blockchain. Now we have Iman, who successfully launched an NFT project. Now it's co-owner.
Yes.
Right. So they're like, I have faith they're going to bring back this technology, and we're going to see it being implemented in like they already kind of have this functionality already, where like if you were to create a WAP, you can set a limit. Right, which is sort of like exclusivivity, right?
Scarcity stuff. Yeah.
But like they don't have the functionality of reselling yet, which they're gonna eventually get there sometime soon. Actually,
decentralized courses.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like that'll change the game. I was always very bullish on the ability to resell digital assets. Like bought in a couple of NFTs in the past, and crypto it's the same thing. But a platform, like we just needed a platform to host courses, sell courses, a marketplace. Like we needed all of these little moving parts, and WAP is already a platform that does that. And if they were to incorporate NFT technology,
is that part of the vision right now, bro?
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I definitely see them doing that in the near future for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, like their biggest focus this year was like top of funnel. So getting as many. What I mean by that is getting as many eyeballs to their marketplace. Basically,
it makes sense. I feel like they were very like, I don't want to say vague, but like almost vague. In a sense, like not knowing too much, kind of just mysterious in a sense.
Yeah.
Pretty tough. It makes sense.
Yeah. So I can't wait for what they're going to be able to do. The ability to like I want to join, like let's just say like your coaching program. Yeah. Take it, connect the network with you, and then let's just say I graduate, complete your course, and you're like, hey,
boom, distribute that out.
You're cool, you graduate, here's your certificate, now you can sell it to someone else.
Wow, it's fucking dope.
Yeah, that's the future of business,
Let's go, NFTs are coming back, let's fucking go.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we're like early investors.
Straight up, like this is the new, back in the day, that was like going from fucking Spain to fucking North America. Now the fucking next conquest is fucking going digital, bro. The digital real estate of all this shit, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We live in like a new era where
you're pioneering.
Digital products is the future, right? Poses a threat to traditional education.
Huge.
But like, I think that people in our generation are slowly starting to wake up and see more value in, you know, paying for not necessarily just knowledge, because that's what you go to school for example, but access.
Right.
Like, I'd much rather pay, you know, for access to information. Information is free. It's like all over the internet.
Right.
ChatGPT is like free, which is trained on the entire internet, so you can basically get anything that you ask it, right? But getting access is still very exclusive, right? And this is like what, you know, these platforms are literally built for. It's just like, you know, getting access to the creator in and of itself. So
100%, bro. Yeah, man. It's super exciting, bro. Yeah, man. It's a crazy thing, man. The world that we live in now, bro. The internet is such a crazy thing, bro. Because like what you're talking about like, yeah, for access. To me, because think about it, right? Even with traditional education, what are you getting, right? You're getting taught by somebody, right? Someone's teaching you shit. There's someone who's the professor, right? But it's like, okay, who are you learning from, right?
Yeah.
Most people, they're looking at like, okay, I'm learning from this institution, right? I'm going to this college, this university, whatever. But at the end of the day, you're learning from individuals. Those are your mentors in a sense, right?
Yep.
So it's like with the new economy and how the internet's going, and with online, you know, coaching and that whole game with digital products, now people can say, wait, there's actually a true free market of information, info product, right? Hence that. And now it's like, find the custom mentor that you fucking need specifically for you and your dreams, right? That's available now.
Yeah.
You don't have to go into some cookie cutter thing of fucking math class, science class, fucking English class. And if it doesn't fall in line with that, you're fucked. You know?
Okay.
It's like, now with the internet, people don't really understand that to that extent. It's like, you can literally find whatever that thing is for you can literally find that now with the internet, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
That's it.
So it's like, for you fuckers out there, take advantage of that. You know?
Free. It's literally
free, bro.
free.
It's free. And then if you really want to take it next level, like you said, making those investments into yourself, like if I never invested into GCC, we would not be here, right? I would not be where I am.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like, you know what I'm saying? It's a stepping stone, right? And it's a way, like you said, one of the main great things about GCC, in my opinion, was like, part of it, the service level, the base level is, it filters for high-level individuals to interact with each other. Yeah. And what happens in that community is it's impossible for good shit not to happen.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you have people who are committed, invested into that. Yep. Right? And into the networking and all that shit, right? And wanting to pursue some shit with your life, you know?
Yeah.
And I think most people, they can break free of whatever negativity they have in their own environment, wherever the fuck it is around the world. They can break free of that first step for free online with whatever content you consume. And then from there, then once you're ready to take actual high-level action, then surround yourself and get access. Yeah. Pay for access, right? And then you can keep leveling up from there, bro.
Yeah.
Sick.
If you think about it, like, the traditional education system is like extremely competitive as well too, right? Because like you're competing against people within like the same industry that you're trying to get a job for.
Yeah.
Right? And like the people that are sitting next to you in class, like let's just say you're like doing like civil engineering, for example, and like you want to get a job in civil engineering. It's like you guys are learning the same information, you guys are going to the same school. Mm-hmm. What's going to be different? The only thing that's going to be different is like your experiences and maybe how you write an essay.
Yeah.
Right? But like when you go to the employer, for example, and they don't know you and they're only looking at your resume, for example, like it's going to be hard to delineate yourself if you don't have any sort of like unique experiences or any results in whatever it is you're building. So like one thing, like when I was going into school, right, and I was in college at the time. I was doing college in the high school.
In Washington?
In Seattle, Washington.
Seattle.
Very blue state. Very blue state.
Very blue state.
I was like getting a degree in like business and marketing, and you know, my friends they're like, oh, I'm gonna do that too, and like, you know, and I'm like sitting in class and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
Right.
Like actually, like I'm gonna get a job that is gonna be very difficult to sort of like distinguish myself from the current market, right? And the market literally was just like the kids going to school and you know, getting a traditional degree, which is, there's nothing wrong with that.
Totally.
But like there's everything wrong with going through the motions of that and thinking that you're going to get you're expecting a different result.
Yeah.
Right? Because like on paper, it's going to say the same thing. You went to X university, you have Y degree, right? And it's going to be the same level of qualifications of the people that are sitting right next to you that you call your friends. And business is inherently extremely competitive, right? Because like, again, you have to delineate, you have to distinguish yourself from the rest of the people in your class, right? And keep in mind, as technology is getting better over time, and like the younger class is getting access to that same technology, right? Slowly over time, as you're starting to get older, you're actually starting to decrease in value because you're starting not to like learn and understand new technology.
Unless you start building your fucking personal brand. So start building your personal brand.
That's huge. Yeah, that's one thing that like AI isn't able to replace is personal brand. Right.
100%.
It just won't be able to do that. I think that's one of the biggest skills of the century is just learning how to build a personal brand.
Dude, in my mind, there's two things: AI and personal brand. And those two things, like, that's the future, bro. Yeah. Because the personal brand side, like you said, the human aspect, that what can separate you from me, from him, from who the fuck ever, is there's someone out there who would prefer you because of who you are than me, than you, than someone else, right? And there's so many people out there. There's billions of people in the world. There's an abundance of that. So you have to put yourself out there, in my opinion, unless you're crazy, to put yourself out there so that you can, there's a saying, right? Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So by you putting yourself out there and building that personal brand, you now have an opportunity, a real opportunity now to then attract that tribe of individuals who resonates with you, relates to you, you know?
Yeah.
And as a human, just the base level as a fucking human, like that's the shit, right? It's like, what do humans love, bro? Humans love the connection, right?
Yeah.
Human connection. That's what like nothing can replace.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. It's not going to be able to replace that, as you said, human-to-human connection that you're establishing with all of your following. Yeah, as I said, like, yeah, AI and personal brand, huge. You want to make $1 million, you want to make $1 billion, you're going to have both. Building any sort of company, now these days, I think it's going to be really difficult without one, to be honest with you. Like, even with, like, we're starting to see, like, a lot of big software companies, like, for example, Facebook. It's like, why is Zuck investing a lot of his time, energy, and money on, like, his personal brand, right? It's huge.
Yeah, why is Zuck getting dripped out now?
Exactly.
Bro went from geek to tweak.
Yeah.
Bro went from geeker to tweaker.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really, really important if you want to build anything significant now these days, for sure. Like, you have to build a personal brand behind very useful products.
100%. Yeah, man. People want to buy from people who they know, like, and trust. So if they don't fucking know you, forget about like and trust you. If they don't know you, there's zero chance. They don't even know that's an option. They don't even know who the fuck you are.
That's like a 0% click-through rate.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what Grant Cardone said of, like, most people's biggest issue is, what was it? It was like irrelevance, or like not irrelevance, but basically how no one knows who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
You know? And that's most people's issue in that. So it's like most people, their first step is like get over the hump of put yourself out there. Yeah. You know?
Exactly. We live in the attention economy, and we are, even when you post on social media, like, you're competing for attention on a platform that everybody uses. And if you're not able to get that view or get that impression, then it's going to be hard to sell products, even if you built a really good product. Yeah.
Totally. So you grew up in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was it like growing up there? Like, how old were you when you moved out of there?
I was 18 when I moved out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So growing up there, like going through like elementary school, middle school, high school, like what was it like there?
It was pretty good. I mean, I was like middle class, grew up in like a suburban neighborhood. I went through the motions of just like listening and following everyone's
NPC behavior.
You know, instruction. You know, I'm gonna follow what people tell me.
Still plugged into the matrix.
Until I started to question, why do I believe the things that I believe? Right? I really believe that, like, we believe the things that we, like, truly believe, and also, like, we don't question the beliefs that, you know, we would never even think to question, right? Yeah. So if we start to question, like, why we have our beliefs in the first place. Somebody told us what to believe, whether we like it or not, whether it's our parents, our friends, our family. And I started to really question my beliefs, I think, when I was I started to really wake up when I was in like middle school. I probably at like a really young age. I was kind of just like,
do you remember, was it like 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade?
Well, dude, honestly, it was probably like early middle school, so probably like 6th grade, I would say. Like, people told me, like, in order to make money, you have to get a job. And I said, why? Like, that doesn't make sense, because if 100% of society were to have that, then we'd have no entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? Like, an entrepreneur doesn't have a job. They have a responsibility. They have a task. They're responsible for creating a product or a service that is valuable for people to, to buy. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I guess in like 6th grade, like I kind of learned that pretty fast. Like, okay, well, I'm just going to try to make as much money as much as possible in ways that I can, not get arrested, basically.
Literally.
By reselling shit, doing a bunch of like side hustles and all that.
Dude, I was about to ask you that. Yeah, I was gonna say, literally, did you start any side hustles in that time period, and like what were they, bro?
I tried all of them, and I failed.
Reselling sneakers and stuff, or what?
Started off reselling sneakers,
eBay?
eBay, bro, like in person, a lot of in persons. I remember. Nice. I think in middle school, one of the that's honestly one of the greatest experiences that I had, because like at a very young age, coming into the business of like sneaker reselling, I had to learn very early how to like negotiate. Very early how to like talk to people. Very early how to how to pitch, how to like offer, and like and
probably without even knowing what you were doing, right?
Exactly.
Because you don't know the structuring of it, but you're just doing it, right?
Yeah, literally, like I have to resell this shoe in order to make $50 in order to pay for a school lunch.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because it's just like my dad was like, yeah, I'm not gonna pay for your lunch. I'm like, okay. He's like, you're gonna have to figure out how to pay for lunch money. It's like, that's part of entrepreneurship, is you just have to figure out how to like facilitate value to pay for stuff to survive, basically. And I had to become pretty lucrative. Try to resell whatever it is that I can get my hands on. And I learned that like if you take something like a product and you clean it up, or if you sell it, for convenience, maybe you got a shoe that's really hard to get, right? And people are paying you more money than you bought it. Well, other people are like, why would that person pay more money for that shoe? Right? Like, I got it for $180. Why are you flipping it for $250? It's because I waited outside and I
pitched a tent and I sat out there.
I camped outside
with a campfire with s'mores.
It was like 30 degrees outside, and then I got a shoe that was extremely high in demand. Skipped class for it. But it's like convenience, because like the value facilitated there is because the buyer didn't want to do that.
Exactly.
Right. So I mean, like, that's kind of like what I got into. So sneaker reselling was a really good business to get into at a young age, because it's not necessarily just because it's like a profitable business model. It's because you learn all of the necessary skills, and it's just like a really good opportunity to actually make money at a young age.
Did you use any like of those bots to like get them like on demand on the sites,
Of course, yeah. That's when I started to see like software.
Yeah,
I started
that was the first.
You're reselling bots? Like, what is this?
Is it?
No, it's not. It's just like, it's just software able to. Well, I guess technically because it's not a human, but it's like looking at it's analyzing
like
patterns.
V1.
It's I mean, some people would argue like it's not AI, but I mean, I would argue, because it's just like it's basically putting a product in your checkout faster. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
is it AI? Drop it in the comments below.
Yeah, I would argue, it is. Yeah, it's not as like sophisticated as like GPT, for example. That's like a different type of AI, but yeah, no, I mean, like, to answer your question, like, I resold a bunch of shit, dude. Like, clothes, shoes, like anything that I can get my hands on to just make a couple of bucks. I got into like print on demand as well. That was actually probably the most money that I made in school, was printing on shirts, believe it or not.
Really?
They had the best margins. And
no way.
Yeah, like my friend and we actually had like this little sweatshop operation in his garage.
Really?
Right. We used to sell
Bro, I had a sweatshop. That's crazy.
Straight up, bro. Yeah, straight up. We had a sweatshop. Him and I, we went on OfferUp and we split we went 50-50 on this heat press.
Yeah.
And that was like $850. So we just split it and we're like, all right, well, we're gonna start printing shirts because we can get a lot of orders because we'd sell senior shirts, the baseball shirts. Yeah. So we sold those, and the shirts would cost us like $3, and then my friend would do custom designs for those shirts. So we did like 50-50, and like I remember for my school, like we had hundreds of orders. In fact, like our senior class I think we had like 500 seniors in my class graduated. And like half of them wanted to order shirts from us. So as you can imagine, we had to skip class.
I hope you collected their phone number and emails, bro.
Well, it was funny because like we had a spreadsheet. I remember we had a Google sheet, and I had like all of their contact information. That was like our very first CRM, basically, because like we were like, how are we going to take all these orders? So we had to kind of reverse engineer. Like, okay, we have to create a business operation.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to collect orders by sending. You're going to handle that. We're going to store all of that inside of a Google sheet, and then we're gonna process it. So yeah, we started working like with our school, then started working with different schools, and like I remember there's this one time where I actually got in trouble. Well, we got in trouble because the teachers called our parents. They knew what we were doing. The whole class, like basically, like my whole school knew what we were doing.
How old were you exactly?
I was probably like 17 at the time.
Okay.
16. Sorry, I was 16.
16?
Yeah, and we were just in his garage. We're like, I can't go to school. Like I had to miss the PSAT.
The SAT, bro.
Yeah, bro, because like we had to make money. You know what I mean? And they're like, I remember we're getting a lot of backlash from the community. They're like, these kids are skipping school, like and stuff like that. Like it's gonna be bad for colleges. And I'm like, A, the PSAT isn't required. That's the SAT. The P just means preliminary, so it's preparation to the SAT. Right. B, I don't even prepare for tests anyways. I just show up I just raw dog the test anyways.
That's
and
crazy.
C, it's just like this is none of your business. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's like missing a week of school is not gonna like guarantee failure in the future. It's like we have to fulfill these orders because we got paid for them. We got paid for all the orders.
Fulfillment.
And
success.
All my friends like want the senior shirt, so started doing that. And I remember our garage operation. We literally like I had to go to Walmart, purchase like all the shirts. The more shirts that you buy, the cheaper it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And then I brought that to the shop. We actually had our first hire. So we paid another one of our friends to actually do like the printing. He was doing the designing, and like I was doing like the fulfillment, getting them out.
Yeah.
In fact, like all of our friends after school, I remember they would actually just all pull up at his house and pick up their orders. It's like we had a legitimate operation going, and like that's when I learned like, okay, well, creating a business, I have to facilitate operation. That's kind of like when I learned that skill.
Started getting a lot of early experience with like team building as well.
Yeah, three of us in a garage was actually smaller than this. It was about like half the size.
Wow.
Because like we had like a bunch of like boxes and stuff like that. But that's what I got started doing.
In garage setup.
Something about
here in my garage.
Bro. Here in my garage.
I'm here in my garage, guys.
And after that, I went into another garage.
Another garage.
Literally, bro.
So how old were you when?
Yeah.
So the first garage was at 16, or did it start at 15, or?
It was like around 16.
Okay, so first garage at 16. Okay. Then second garage. What was the gap between first garage to second garage, and what happened between that period?
Yeah, I was in college in the high school, so I did running. I was kind of a weird kid. I did my junior and senior year of high school. I did running start, which is basically college in the high school. So my high school would pay for college credits, and I graduated high school with a 2 years associate's degree, with the expectation that I'm going to transfer those credits and finish another 2 years at a 4-year, while paying 50% off. Basically, that was the deal, right? So
just finesse them.
Sign the contract. I'm like, all right, let's do it. So I was going to do that basically, but like in college and the high school, when I was like doing like college 101 and all these other classes, which by the way was way easier than high school. Like your first 2 years in college is like, those classes are easy, bro. Like you have to be dumb not to pass them. Like honestly, the hardest class that I took personally was like AP World History in high school, and like that was just like the hardest class because you had to retain all this information. But yeah, no, I was in college and I just didn't think that spending the next 2 years of my life in like a dorm in this like degenerate frat culture Started learning about business, like learning about hypothetical business, like
learning about business from someone who's never run a fucking business in their life.
Exactly. Like it was very hard for me to see, the perceivable return on an investment, because like since I was dealing with money at a really young age, like cash, like I was like, yes, like we made, like we made like $5,000 this week. I'm like, $5,000, this is a lot of money, right? But like when you go to college and then they're like, oh, it's only going to be like $50,000 a year times 4. That's $200,000. I'm like, that's a lot of work, because I understood at a young age, like to make $5,000 as sweat equity as like a 16-year-old kid. Yes. I'm like, and I just divided the amount of like hours and labor and costs, and it's just like something that costs $200,000 when these 18-year-old kids aren't even justifying actually how much money that is, because they're getting all programmed by a bunch of people. That's
all programming, bro.
They're telling you like, it's worth it.
NPCs.
You should go to college. The experience,
NPCs.
dude. The experience, dude. To justify $200,000, bro. I'll start a business and get sweat equity experience and see way more value than that, and actually make money at the same time versus going to college and getting the perceivable experience of something that's inflated.
Literally,
not worth a single penny of my time. So basically, I was like, well, I have two roads. Road A is I'm gonna go do this college thing, make everybody happy, guarantee unhappiness, and then also not do anything in my business for 2 years. Or B, I make everybody unhappy, I piss a couple of people off, parents doubt me, whatever, but I have a chance at business. Right, which I am confident in my skills at that point, because I've had a couple of business ventures at a young age. So I went on route B.
For sure.
And the first thing that I did was I moved out of my hometown. I think that was like the biggest thing for me. Moving out of the hometown, building a startup.
Because college was still in your hometown? Was it close by?
It was in my hometown, like,
because it was basically high school but with the credits and
bro, straight up, like I would see the same people that I went to high school with in my college, and I didn't want to do that. Like, how am I going to succeed in the same environment? In order to achieve different results, you must do something.
You have to break that away.
You have to literally change your habits. So yeah, I mean, I moved out of my hometown, started a startup company. I mean, like, actually wanted to go all in and building an actual agency, not like the agency that like a lot of people kind of in the online space call agencies. It's like an actual like in-person startup. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna like actually get people here, and like we're gonna work and like build this company together. No overseas freelancers or anything like that. We're actually gonna try to build this thing. So I got a mentor. So I think in terms of patterns, it's like I moved out of my hometown, actually lived with my mentor, and I don't know if I told you this.
So this is the second. Now we're entering into the second garage, right?
Yeah, this is the other garage. Actually, this is my mentor's garage.
This is your mentor's garage.
In California, and I've never been in California. And I was just like, I had a contract, I remember. Like, I was like, fuck, back's against the wall. But basically, like, I spent everything. I literally spent everything into moving to California, like on a one-way plane ticket with like 5 days worth of clothes to live there for the next 2 years. But basically, I full sent it. Bro, full send. I straight up went to him and I said, hey, I will work for you for free for 365 days without expecting any sort of pay in exchange for experience, right? Because I know that you are successful. I'd rather learn from somebody like you and, actually, acquire those necessary skills versus, being in college right now, being in uni. So he said, yeah, sounds good. What are you doing next week? And I'm like, drinking water. Like, next week? Like, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to leave everything behind. But that's the price that you have to pay in order to achieve anything significant. Is you have to be able to just full send it. So that's kind of what I did. And then I learned a little bit more what he does. He was like an accountant. He had he was managing a lot of big accounts, primarily in like the art space. And then that's when that's when I kind of realized like, oh, there's a lot of opportunity in creating a business around this. And then that's kind of like when we started to expand our operations.
It's fucking
in his garage,
bro.
Keep in mind, it was not pretty. I literally I ate shit for a little bit. I was like sleeping on the couch.
How long was that?
So I spent 2 years basically in that environment, but like the first 6 months was like sleeping on the floor, sleeping on a couch, really it was hard to kind of like make ends meet. But eventually, like, as we started to grow and get more clients and get more employees, eventually I went went from that to, we had our own like apartments that were all like living and working together. And yeah, we're eventually just like, our main business model kind of just like revolved around opening up a chain of tattoo studios across the US. Like that was our business.
Bro took over the tattoo game.
Yeah, because like all we did was like we implemented technology in all these businesses, and then, we saw a lot of opportunity in like, okay, I'm going to separate the business aspect, from these artists, and then create a team to internally manage all of those operations, so that they could focus on what they do best. So we just like keep them busy, we book them out, and that was facilitated through technology, and then also just people within our operations. Yeah, that was like the very first, I would say, real successful venture that is actually still running today. But,
wow.
Yeah.
It's really impressive, bro. It's super cool.
Yeah.
And so you were there for 2 years. So 6 months, I'm sleeping on the floor, eating shit.
Yeah.
Or high-key eating shit. And then it kind of turned the leg a little bit, right? So what was that specific kind of moment? Like take me through like that. Was it like a week period where like you started to pick up steam or something? Like what was kind of the indicator there when it kind of turned a little bit better in your favor?
Yeah, so like that mentorship was not easy at all. It was like, he was a very hardcore, very weird dude, honestly, like definitely not for everybody, but he was extremely successful. But like when you look at the upper echelon of very hyper successful people,
yeah,
they're a bit weird, to be honest with you. Like they don't like talking to people, they're very quiet, but their fundamentals are very strong. But it was very like mentally challenging, physically challenging as well too, because he'd make me do a lot of these like weird tasks that I couldn't question him because I'm under a mentorship.
Right.
But as a result, I learned those fundamental things without even, like realizing it. And I've learned thousands of life lessons, and he didn't even teach me anything technical. Like I had to learn all the technical stuff, like with technology, setting up the websites, CRMs, and all that, building culture people. Like he would walk me through a lesson. Did I tell you about the car one?
I think so, but remind me about
Oh my God. So there's this one instance where it was him and he was in the passenger seat, and I was just driving our company vehicle. It was like a Tesla, and I was driving a 75D. It wasn't even my car, it was the company's car.
Okay.
I remember I was like super stressed that day. I was going to the shop, and like we were supposed to have a meeting with like another tattoo owner, and we were trying to get them as like onboarded as like a client, right? Because like we can make them a lot of money and manage their shop. Super stressed, running on 4 hours of sleep, didn't eat anything, fucking like I was just in my head. And he was next to me, and like I'm intimidated by this dude. Like I'm literally like, he's like, his opinion mattered more to me than anybody on earth.
Yeah.
Right? So like he's just sitting there in the car quiet. And I'm just like not talking, whatever. He can see I'm super stressed. Right? And he's like, how do you feel right now? I'm like stressed, overwhelmed, kind of just let it out. And one thing that I've learned, and I'm gonna show you the lesson, was speed. So he told me, he was like, all right, you're stressed, press the gas a little bit. I'm like, this is kind of weird. Okay, keep in mind we're going pretty fast on the freeway, but it was about like an hour going to like the shop that we wanted to go to. So I went from like 75 miles per hour, 80, 85, 90. I'm like, oh shit, okay, I'm going pretty fast now, right? You're speeding up the car.
Yeah.
I'm going over 120 easily.
Going like 120 in the Tesla, whipping 120 in the Tesla down
and
the
like
road.
I'm just whipping around cars, and bro, like, and guess what happens? I'm driving like this, going 60, but 120, I'm putting 2 hands on wheels. Right, 120, and I was just speeding. He asked me this question: how do you feel? It's like
Yoda shit. Right
he's like, how do you feel? And I'm like, honestly, like I'm focused right now. Like I'm driving, cars in front of me. Like I'm looking in the rearview mirror. Things are happening fast. But he's like, what do you see? Okay, what do I see? Viscerally, I remember this. Okay, the vision in front of me is like it's clear. I'm like passing all these cars. What's around me is blurred, right? But like I'm like focused, right? And one thing that I've realized is like navigating through stress-induced situations. One thing that I've learned is to just increase the speed and velocity, right? Because like when you increase your speed, when you're pressing a gas, you become more tunnel visioned and focused, and everything around you becomes irrelevant. And actually, you start to become way more focused on the clear goal. And in fact, as a result, we got there faster, we got there safer. I didn't get pulled over, and all is well. So like I've learned like literally thousands of those lessons through like the tasks that he would give me, like random tasks, like it just like happened out of nowhere. And like I've learned that at a very young age, honestly, and like that's what really served me, was like learning those like experiences, like living in those experiences and actually doing those things and not questioning. Like one thing is just like if you're under a mentorship, never question. Just don't. Like if you're asking somebody for a certain result and they tell you to do something, you are their servant. Like say you're getting coached by somebody, it's like it's okay to ask questions, but don't question
your way out of speed.
Your way out of speed. It's like it just is. You know what I mean?
100%.
So.
Dude, I took that mentality to the fullest extreme, bro, when I was being mentored by Rick Macy, bro, because I can relate to that exact thing, because it's like, I was at a point where I'm like, bro, I want this shit so fucking bad, I'll do whatever the fuck it takes, and I'm just so hungry, I want this shit, right? So I'm like, okay, what's the current bottleneck in my game right now? Footwork. Okay, Rick, how the fuck do I improve my footwork? How do I improve it? He's like, it's simple, bro. 1,000 jump rope a day. Do 1,000 jump rope a day. Yeah. Most people, they hear that and they're just like, okay, I'll do it. Yeah, 1,000 jump rope, okay. Maybe they do it once, maybe they do it a few times, maybe they do it every once in a while. Yeah. But he's like, do that every day. So I'm like, in my crazy mind, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this shit every fucking day for at least 6 months, every motherfucking day. And if my footwork's not amazing, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be like, this shit doesn't work, I'm gonna call you the fuck out for it. Yeah. But I said, I'm gonna take massive action, I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna do the crazy shit you say, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. And let's see if it works. And let's see if I find out.
And it did, right?
And it fucking completely changed my trajectory, bro. And not even just the physical side, which is footwork better than ever before. Absolutely. Able to compete with, against professional like women on the tour now for their fucking 50 in the world, fucking going in sets 7-6 breakers with them and all that, playing against like 13 UTRs, they're grinding competitive sets with them. But honestly, bro, fuck the physical benefits of it, bro. Fuck the footwork. Yeah. It's the mental benefits that are kind of the secret sauce mechanism for everything else, bro, that can get unlocked with that. Yeah. Because I've seen some of the best transformations, obviously all the tennis transformations, results, tournament wins, go to college, get a scholarship, all that, it's awesome, right? Getting a result in a Grand Slam, that's so cool, right? But seeing the mental changes with someone's confidence, with their just happiness of themselves, because they know they're taking the steps that they're kind of promising in private to themselves, but now they're actually doing it, right? Yeah. Because they're doing something like 1,000 jump rope a day that, especially at the beginning, fucking sucks, bro. It sucks at the beginning, right? But if you do that, everything else, there's nothing else you're gonna do that day that's gonna even come close to that in difficulty. Facts. So it makes everything else so suboptimal. It's like you're bench pressing some heavy ass weight, and then it's like now you're lifting some stuff. It might be still heavy, but relative to that, it's fucking nothing.
But
bro.
You did 1,000.
You just did a fucking 1,000 jump rope. You just put yourself in. You pushed yourself past something that you were comfortable with for sure, because it's basically a guarantee that it's gonna make anybody uncomfortable. That's basically what it does. It guarantees for sure you're gonna get really fucking uncomfortable. And oh, by the way, it's gonna make your footwork the best as well. Absolutely. Look at boxers,
I think it's like, it's not the fact that you did 1,000 jump ropes, it's the fact that you went out of your way to do 1,000 jump ropes. It's like how you do one thing is how you do everything. Exactly. You know what I mean? For example, if I'm playing singles against you, and I know, like we're like competing, or it's semifinals, for example, and we're both trying to win. Yeah. But I know that you did 1,000 jump ropes before this, and I'm like fucking off on the warm-ups and just betting on like my technical capability. Right. Bro, I'm probably gonna lose, to be honest with you, because you already won that battle. You know what I mean? Like,
sends a message, right?
Absolutely.
Sends a motherfucking message.
Thousands, like, try doing 1,000 of anything, bro. Like
100%, yeah. 1,000 DMs, 1,000 DMs a day. That would be crazy.
Dude, you do 1,000 jump ropes, but you're gonna be like, I could do 1,001 DM. Nothing, bro.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Totally, bro.
Yeah. It's the mentality thing, bro. It's like it's like the cold plunge, for example. Yes. It's like you go in that thing, you're gonna be questioning everything. But like when you get out, you feel like a monster. You're gonna be like, oh, dude, if I did 5 minutes of this, dude, the rest of the day is gonna be easy. The rest of the day is gonna be the reward. Honestly, this is hard. Like doing the cold plunge. You've been in there? It's not.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
That cold plunge.
The hands for me is the worst, bro. The getting like the body is cool, but like when my arms go in for some reason.
Your cold plunge is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Your cold plunge is insane.
But it's mental though. It's all mental. It's like going like the first, what would you say, like first minute 60 seconds is the hardest, but like when you're in there for 5 minutes, 4 minutes is fine.
Yeah, I think
you get numb to it. That's the thing about the cold plunge, right?
100%. Yeah, with the cold plunge, it's that. So I'm trying to think for jump rope. Like I'm thinking for me personally, like I would say, what is that equivalent, right? I think for jump rope, I think it's a little, for me, it's a little bit longer. That initial kind of wall you got to get through, I think, is a little bit longer. And might be some. I think it changes day to day, but like I would say for me, it's like fucking first 3 to 5 minutes, like kind of a grind, especially if it's like really early in the morning as well. And then once you're like past that, you kind of get to that flow state. What I also coach people to do is like count the reps, like count 1 and count to 100, so by tens. So you're actually actively having to focus on counting as well. So it's almost like a meditative thing as well, where you're having to focus on something, doing something monotonous, repetitive like that 1,000 times builds another layer of discipline on top.
Yeah.
So
very interesting.
Yeah, so it's a very kind of small detail, but I would have never thought of that unless I actually noticed it really helped me personally.
Yeah.
And I've also seen the students who do that, they're always the ones who actually get the best transformations.
It's sort of like, when you drive, when we were 16, you're about to get your permit. It's like you have to consciously think about really like not stomping on that gas, but you have to be really gradual about it. Same thing with the brakes, and like you have to be more conscious. But like now, turn on the car, we're gonna like we think about just going there now, but like it's like mental memory, right? So it's kind of like the same thing with like when you're doing the jump ropes. It's like it's just mental. You know what I mean? Like you probably don't have to think about doing like like it's a lot different than starting off your first 1,000. You've probably done millions probably at this point.
I wouldn't say millions. I would be fucking old as shit.
I don't know how many jump
millions, but I mean, what's like 1,000 a day? Let me see.
Well, you do 1,000 a day for a year. That's 365,000. However long you've been doing that for, like maybe a couple of years.
Holy shit!
You've probably done.
It's probably a little under $1 million.
Yeah,
holy shit!
You probably did close to $1 million at this point.
Holy fuck, dude!
Yeah, no,
that's insane.
That's
$1 million jump rope.
And you're pretty consistent every single day. 1,000.
Oh yeah,
non-negotiable.
Yeah, non-negotiable.
I wouldn't.
Unless what I do is I don't take any off days. One lesson I learned from this bodybuilder, Chris Gethin, he had a saying. I used to watch his bodybuilder video series when I was like early in high school, and he had a saying. It was like, never take days off, because life will give you off days, right? If you have some injury that comes up, or at the time, like for me, for tennis, it was like if I have a lot of homework or some school project that I got to do where I can't train as much or whatever. So for me then it was like play tennis every day, do my tennis work every day, and then like if my body needs a break, I'll take a break, right? But let me have life give me the off day, and I'm not going to go out of my way to do that necessarily, which I applied that for the jump rope as well. And with anyone starting it, I recommend the 6-month non-negotiable. If you really want to dial it every day, no matter what, I don't give a fuck what it is. When I was doing that the first time around, I was having a lot of pain, bro, doing it, knees, all that, ankle, whatever, but I would still do it, whether I have to break it up in the day, whatever, but I would still get it done. And that also is kind of the David Goggins shit of like, when you hit your wall, you're only at like 20% of what you can really get to. And I really was able to prove that to myself when it's like, fuck, dude, I just did this 18 days in a row and my body's beat. And then it's like you stay consistent with it, and then like 2 days later, you feel fresher than you've ever felt, and you're like, wait, that actually, maybe my mind was actually playing tricks on me. So if I could have let up and let that take over, but I'm in control of this. I'm in control of this, right? So yeah, bro, the jump rope shit has been transformational for me, and that's why I'm so like big on pushing that for all my students as well, bro.
I love that. I gotta start doing jump ropes. I've just been doing push-ups every single day.
Yeah.
Like 50 push-ups first thing in the morning is like what, like that's just like, if I don't do it, like it's weird for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna start doing jump ropes. Like that's like
totally.
I know boxers do. It's good for boxing and Muay Thai as well too. Like that's how we get warmed up.
Totally, yeah.
It's great for pretty much any sport. I mean, most sports have footwork.
Anything athletic, it's great for, bro.
Yeah, even
because
like snowboarding too.
You just feel way lighter on your feet, and that's why for tennis specifically, like, look, if you don't give a fuck about like your footwork, your foot speed, agility, all that, I mean, look, I'm not gonna say you have to do jump rope, right? You know, like for entrepreneurs or whatever, but I think, yeah, like I think it's just from a health perspective, if you're healthy and you can do that and it's not gonna fuck up your joints and stuff, do it, bro, you know?
It's important.
Just try it. Just see the type of person you are now, do it for 6 months, and just see what happens. And the best part, the cherry on top of everything is, bro, you don't need to go 2 hours to the gym and do something. You can take a rope, you can get your ass outside, and you can spend 8 minutes doing your jump rope.
That's it.
If you really do it. So there's also for entrepreneurs, I think it's great, and like people who are very busy, because maybe at the beginning it takes a little bit more time, but like when I do it now, bro, if I do it like chill, it's gonna be 7, 8, 9 minutes, 10 minutes.
That's pretty
chilling. Want to sit on a couch?
Pretty good.
You know? Yeah. But like for some of my younger students who are getting into it, sometimes it can take them, 30 minutes, 45 minutes if they're really having to break everything up a lot. But it's like even 45 minutes starting, it's not bad, bro. And also, crazy thing on top is I teach people to do it backwards, not forwards.
Oh gosh, that hurts my brain right now.
That's purely for tennis. That's purely for tennis and shoulder health because of internal rotation in the shoulders. And I want them to be healthier with their shoulders to balance that out, going externally rotating. So going backwards helps with external rotation. And I learned that from one of my college coaches when he would have us do like 100 or 200 jump rope a day for warm up. And that was a grind for me, bro. When I started 200 jump rope, bro, I felt like a fat ass doing that, bro. I was so bad at it.
You know what's crazy about jump ropes that I've just like kind of connected the dots now?
Yeah.
When I used to do Muay Thai, we used to warm up with jump ropes. We only do 100. We didn't do 1,000.
That's usual, like 100, 200, yeah.
We did 100, but we would actually, like when you do Muay Thai, you're not wearing any shoes. You know when you hit your shoes with a jump rope, like, it just hits the top of your shoe, you don't feel it.
Your foot, you're whipping yourself?
Yeah, so we use, with our jump ropes or with mine, there's metal.
You're using like the speed ropes, the cable.
The cable with plastic, but like, there's plastic on the outside, but there's metal on the inside.
Yeah, that's the speed ropes. Yeah, using the good one.
My coach would be like, we're doing 100, right, with no shoes or socks.
That's crazy.
So, well, one thing that I realized now was, when you hit your foot, like you can't hit your foot, so you have to get off the ground and not be lazy. Right. So it's almost like a punishment.
Yes.
So that's it's pretty
incentive.
It's pretty extreme.
It's
but
good,
like when I'm doing jump ropes, like on the mat, like with the speed, he's like faster. I'm like, well, if I go faster, I'm increasing the risk potentially where I'm gonna hit my foot. And he's like, so
you're not gonna miss though, bro. You don't want to whip yourself.
My coach said he was like, if you focus on hitting your foot, you're gonna hit your foot. But if you just increase the speed and you just keep your knees up and you keep going, because we used to do like the ones where like we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
I usually would not hit my foot, and I wouldn't even think about hitting my foot because I'm just skipping the rope. Yeah. I'm just focusing on the number. So I realized that, oh, dude, that's actually crazy, because like the mental training of that is actually way more valuable than the jump rope in and of itself.
Jump rope, bro, has a whole philosophy side of it in and of itself, bro. It's nuts, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I remember, bro, like when you were mentioning that about whipping yourself with it, I was getting flashbacks, bro, to like when I was first really progressing, like those first few months of doing the jump rope stuff. I remember I would fucking whip my leg all the time, and it would be like you said, it's those speed ropes with the cable in the middle and the rubber on the outside. Yeah. But well, you'll know when you're doing it, after a few weeks, a few days of doing a lot like that, you're gonna start to wear at it. Eventually the wire is gonna break out. And at the beginning, I used to literally just use it until it would literally break and snap. Like I still do that, but the ones I used to have would fray so much. And dude, I remember sometimes, bro, it would get like literally, it would hit me, get some blood on the shins, whatever. Yeah. Scrape a little bit, whatever. Yeah. But then it's like, if you're crazy about it, you're like, that's actually good, because how good am I gonna get at jump ropes, bro? Because I don't want to fucking hit that. Yeah. And I want to avoid that. You know?
Yeah. It's like, you have to have something that is going to train you to not do a certain habit incorrectly.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, a lot of sports have like those, you know, those like technology that's able to, you know, not, you know, have you do bad habits basically, right? In paddle, they have this one thing where you put like under your armpit to keep your elbow close, like when you're doing like the forehands.
Okay.
Basically, it's like
a little wedge.
Like a little wedge you
Nice.
put right here to like not drop. It's either like a little paddle ball you put right here to like basically
It's
not.
like a ball.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's like you put a ball here to like keep your elbow in when you hit your forehands, right? Like kind of like that same thing, right? So like in your mind, you keep training yourself. Like when you're on the court, you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do a forehand. I'm gonna keep my elbow in. Oh, I'm actually landing really good drop shots now.
Exactly, literally.
Crazy. Man, I love those like little things in racket sports. Like there's one thing, bro. I did my first tournament.
Okay.
In paddle.
Okay.
We actually won. We did really good. Me and Gavin
Dude,
we were partners. And one guy that gave me advice. I remember one thing. There's this one game that I just kept making mistakes. For some reason, I was like in my head, I was so nervous because like I was going against people who were like, they actually had synergy. They played as a team before. Gavin and I haven't really. But he went up to me and he was like, he told me, a mistake that happens more than once is a decision.
100%.
And I was like,
that's a bar.
you just dropped bar.
Yeah, you just spit game.
So I'm in my head, dude, that whole day, I'm like, okay, I need to be more conscious about the things that I'm doing. So what I did was I asked my partner, what mistakes am I, and, you know, I asked Gavin, I was like, what am I doing? He's like, well, you're not communicating when it's going down the middle lane. You need to do that. So consciously, I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. So whenever a ball comes in the middle, I say, I got it or you got it, done. Made that that was a decision. Didn't make that mistake again the entire day. That was what was really pissing us off, because what happens when you're playing doubles and like there's miscommunication, the ball goes right down the line. There's kind of a gray area, right? They hit it down that. But like when you communicate, it's a different game. You play better, right? You play better, especially doubles, when you have to like rely on somebody to return a ball and they have the responsibility.
Oh yeah.
But that thing like that I learned from, that's why I love racket sports or sports in general, is like every single sport has like that fundamental life lesson that's like technical in the sport, but it can be applied to everything else in life. I think racket sports has like a lot. What are some other ones that you've learned in tennis that apply to life, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many layers to it, bro. I mean, there's obviously like the discipline aspect of like, forget about any technical stuff, just the nature of, well, actually, no, let's talk about the technical stuff. I think the problem solving, that skill set, I think is really, like tennis players really build that from a really early age, because it's like, not only are you playing like strategical chess against your opponent with where you're placing shots, but also from like, even from a technical standpoint, and this, obviously players can get good technique like pretty quickly when they're young and stuff like that, but usually technique takes a lot of years and time to develop, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to be not only consistent, so consistency is another huge one as well, at problem solving for a long period of time with kind of delayed gratification. So there's so many different fucking life lessons in that. So it's like 3 right there.
Yeah, it's huge.
But like those are kind of all
Take notes, guys.
Literally take notes.
Take notes. You need a notebook right now.
And that's why racket sports are awesome. That's why I think racket sports are going to be pushed a lot in the future, and I think it's only going to go up, right? And I think tennis is going to change big time very shortly, because like it's the fundamental product of what it is. It's so good for humans, bro. It's great for the community. Yeah. It's a great sport. They're great sports. It's fun. It's great for your fucking brain. Everything's dope about it. Everything's dope about it. The content is great on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel immediately.
This guy has so much sauce on racket sports.
Watch my strategical videos. We're dropping fucking bangers.
Chase was giving me tips on paddle, and like that was your first day playing.
Literally.
Oh, dude, that was. I'm like, dang. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah,
literally,
you're right.
Dude, the only experience I had with paddle before that was early when I started my tennis online coaching program. I signed up this lady in Qatar who played paddle, and she said something similar where she was like, dude, you helped. She didn't say dude, but she said, with her my own words, she was like, dude, you helped my game. You helped my footwork and my forehand with your tips without ever having to talk to you. So she's like, when I had the opportunity to get on a call with you and get additional help, your free shit helped me tremendously. So it's like, well, what if you actually helped me now? Like, actually you helped me specifically, right?
Crazy.
It's fucking crazy, man. So yeah, that was literally the only experience I had. So I helped her with her paddle game with that, man. So that was my first kind of entry into paddle, and I had to start learning about the game then, and I was like, this is actually kind of cool. There's a cool kind of addition to the game here.
Well, there's a lot of correlations, right? There's
Yep.
there's a lot of correlations with paddle and tennis. I mean,
Ton. Oh yeah, a ton. I just applied all the concepts, the timeless principles that I know for sure are just biomechanically correct.
yeah.
Physics, scientifically, just boom, this is what's like optimal. Do this.
But the game's a little bit different, but like the fundamentals are pretty much the same, right?
Exactly, and you just have to apply those to the different set of rules and the different set of structures of the game, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, like how fast you picked paddle up. Like, remember your first? I played with you multiple days. Like, I was like, damn it!
I mean, dude, it's fun, bro.
Why is he hitting like this? Like, they shouldn't be doing this. Like, you're hitting it towards my feet. That's like one thing where it was annoying, and I was like, that sucks because my footwork's not there yet. But like, it was making it really difficult to like return.
Because you're not doing your jump rope.
I didn't do 1,000 jump
Blake
ropes before a game.
exposed.
I didn't do 1,000 jump ropes. That's probably why I didn't return those ones.
Exactly.
And then you started to
Exactly.
slice, dude. That was messed up.
Exactly. That's something I tell my students a lot. It's like, blame your feet.
Yeah,
It's like, blame your fucking feet, bro.
That's it.
Play a match, blame your feet for everything and see what the fuck happens. But
Yep.
actually blame your feet and then take action on that.
Crazy.
But yeah, man, I'm curious, bro, like, it's kind of like completely unrelated to everything, but I just think it's interesting for people who are interested in the online space. One thing when I was kind of coming into space, I would really look into, okay, these are people who I kind of look up to in a way, and this is like people I want to learn about. And I'm like, okay, well, what's some basic stuff? Like, what do these motherfuckers do on a daily routine basis? What are these people's daily routine? So I'm curious, bro, like, for everyone out there, like, take us through, like, when you're back home in your mode, what's like your daily routine of just how you go about things, anything unique that you do and all of that. Just take us through your daily routine, bro.
Wake up and create something, whether that's content, whether that's a software, whether that's, creating new workflows, right? For me, like, it's very like systematic.
So when you wake up, sorry to cut you off, when you wake up, do you go immediately like into work mode, or do you have anything that preps you for that, or you just go wake up, boom, you're at your desk cooking?
I just wake up and work, brother.
Sick.
Wake up, coffee, work. It's just been working for me.
Wake up, coffee, work.
Like,
Okay.
I just go straight to the laptop. I plan out like what I write down exactly what I need to get done today, and I just have like 3 big goals, and then I just throughout the day just reverse engineer how to get there. And luckily, like, I use AI to help execute on that vision.
Course,
because I'm like, okay, AI, I have this goal. Reverse engineer, like a really good prompt is like reverse engineer how to actually get this done in the most efficient way possible, right? And then AI basically breaks that down into like a checklist, basically. And then like AI tells me what to do, and then I just like reverse engineer and then execute on all the plan items. Yeah, and it makes it so much easier too, because most people in their brains overcomplicate stuff, or I see a lot of people working really hard towards like one thing, but they're like incredibly inefficient, like on doing that one thing. It's like focus on the highest leverage things first, because like throughout the day, like your brain only exerts like a certain amount of energy. You only have so much that you can actually do throughout the day. So it's like for me in the morning, I try to do like the most, I guess, like energy and mind intensive things first. That's like the most, either thought provoking or like that's like the most like highest leverage for me, high priority. And then I kind of just like work my way down.
Gotcha. So wake up, coffee, write down, ideate what you need to do, and then execute on that. So basically you plan it out, and then you just focus all on execution. So you put your hat on of, okay, planning mode, then you put another hat on of purely execution, soldier mode, get it fucking done. And then what does that look like in terms of like, it's creating content, like what is kind of some of those actions that you might be taking kind of on a daily basis?
Yeah, content's really big for me, because I have an online offer, so content is always going to have to be the thing, because people are literally relying on me. Like I have like over 600 people that are relying on me to create content. So that, creating like systems, like, actually building systems in the businesses, making things more efficient, and then just creating like really cool software products. It's like really big for me. So that's it. Like that's like you know, God gives us the ability to create stuff, and we have technology that's able to do that and facilitate it really without that much our human intelligence or compute. It's like we have a tool that's able to like streamline that like 80% faster than we would, you know, using our brains. So it's like we might as well just like use the tool, you know.
100%.
But yeah, that's the workflow right now. Just keep creating cool things.
That's fucking dope, bro. I love that, man. Super interesting. It'll tell you the timestamps and shit?
Yeah. It's, I mean, not only just timestamping, but like it will create, it will cut out all the ums and the uhs. It will cut out all of the, it will shorten the word gaps. But like my favorite tool in using Descript is the clips. So like it actually, similar to Opus. You ever heard of Opus?
Yeah.
So Opus, like it'll, so Descript is way better, bro. It'll basically find like and rank like the most quote unquote viral scripts. And I think they use a different engine than Opus. But basically, yeah, it can create those editable clips for you, so that you can focus on editing the ones that are like ranked the most viral on Descript, which is like pretty sick. But yeah.
Totally, yeah. We definitely have to try that out, man. Because there's so many tools, bro, and the AI is only getting better, bro. So like, yeah, I mean, that goes back to like how AI is changing the content game, and not only changing creation but also distribution.
Yeah.
Right, and there's two sides: creation, distribution. That's it. We're creating, we're distributing, and we're fucking
printing.
And on that note, we're gonna wrap this motherfucker up. Where can people find you, Blake?
Good talks. Any of my accounts at Blake Baswell, make sure it has like the check on it, because I have other accounts that aren't me. So yeah, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Probably YouTube. YouTube would be the most value. I'm also on WAP as well, so wap.com/AI-Academy. That's my community.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you, bro.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of fun. Hell yeah, bro.
It's been a pleasure. More to
If you got any value out of this motherfucking video, like the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel. We're about to get to 1K subs very shortly.
Yep.
We might even get there before we post this, but I will see you guys in the next video. Have the best day of your fucking life. Peace out.
Let's play some ping pong.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's go, bro.
Hell yeah.